Some of the deepest wounds don't bleed. They sit silently inside your chest, unseen by the world, but not by God. There are moments in life when the weight in your chest feels heavier than the silence around you. When you sit alone, and everything looks fine on the outside, but inside, you're shattered. You smile at the world, but inside your soul is whispering, "I can't do this much longer." You wake up tired, not from lack of sleep, but from carrying wounds no one else sees. And there's no cast, no crutch, no scar that tells the world you're hurting. Just a quiet ache, and the hope that maybe, just maybe, someone notices. I want you to hear me today. God sees you. He sees every tear that never made it down your cheek. He sees the screams you swallowed just to survive the day. He sees the loneliness in your bedroom at night, the longing in your soul, the prayers you stopped praying because you weren't sure if he was still listening. But he is, and he has not forgotten you. Psalm 147:3 says, "He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds." This isn't poetry. This is a promise. God is not distant from your pain. He is right there in the middle of it. He's not rushing you to be okay. He's not embarrassed by your weakness. He kneels beside you, gently wrapping his hands around your heart, whispering, "I'm here, and I'm not leaving." Some of you have been betrayed by people you trusted. Some of you are grieving things you never had the chance to say. Some of you are stuck in the quiet agony of depression, shame, or fear. But no matter the shape of your pain, hear this truth. You are not invisible to God. You are seen. You are known. You are loved, even in this. And the same God who raised the dead, the same Jesus who wept at Lazarus' tomb, he still draws near to the broken. He still sits in the silence. He still binds the wounds no one else can touch. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to fix yourself before you come to him. You just have to come, even if all you can bring are your tears, because in the stillness of your brokenness, God is already there, healing, holding, and loving you back to life. You see, the beauty of Psalm 147:3 is not just in its poetry. It's in its power. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Those are not soft words. They're strong. They're intentional. They carry the weight of a God who doesn't stand far off, watching your pain from a throne of indifference, but a God who steps into it, who rolls up his sleeves and touches the very parts of you that hurt the most. Let that sink in. The God who shaped the stars, who carved the oceans, who commands the winds, he also binds wounds. Tenderly, patiently, personally. He doesn't hide when your heart is breaking. He doesn't flinch at the sight of your tears. He doesn't back away when the darkness in your life starts to rise. No, he moves closer. The world may tell you to stay strong, to hide your sadness. To keep going. To bury it. To numb it. But God says, bring it to me. Because he's not the kind of father who ignores the cries of his children. He's the kind who collects every tear in a bottle, who counts every sleepless night, who sees every ache in your chest and calls it worthy of his attention. And he doesn't just see it. He heals it. He doesn't offer temporary relief. He doesn't hand you a bandage and walk away. No, he stays, and he starts the work only he can do, the work of divine healing, not surface level, not momentary, but deep, transforming, soul-level restoration. He heals the brokenhearted. Let's pause right there. Brokenhearted. That's not just a metaphor. It's a spiritual condition. It's what happens when the weight of life becomes too much for a single human soul to carry. When love is lost, when betrayal cuts deep, when dreams collapse, when people walk away, when grief sets up camp in the corners of your chest. And maybe that's you today. Maybe you've smiled through the pain. Maybe you've performed strength for the world because weakness felt too risky. Maybe you've convinced yourself that your hurt isn't holy enough for God to notice. But let me tell you something powerful. Brokenness does not scare God. It attracts him. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Psalm 34:18. Did you hear that? Not judging the brokenhearted, not ignoring the brokenhearted, but close, right beside you. When others grow uncomfortable with your sadness, God sits in it with you. When people tell you to get over it, God tells you, give it to me. When you say, God, I'm not okay, he says. I never asked you to be. I asked you to come. And he binds up their wounds. This is where it gets even more beautiful, because in the ancient world, to bind up a wound wasn't just a quick ACT. It was a process, an act of care, of cleansing, of tenderness. It meant kneeling down next to someone in pain, wrapping the broken place, tending to it daily, watching over it until it healed. That's what God does for you. He kneels beside you, not in judgment, but in mercy, not in haste, but in compassion. And he begins the process of healing. Point 1. Conversation at a time. Point 1. Moment of prayer at a time. Point 1. Whispered, help me, Lord, at a time. He knows how to sit with you in the dark until you're ready to walk in the light. He knows how to hold your heart gently, knowing how fragile it is. He knows how to breathe peace into places that have been at war for years. This is who he is. He is Jehovah Rapha, the God who heals, not just the God who fixes, not just the God who restores, but the God who heals, intimately, lovingly, completely. He's not rushing you. He's not disappointed in your progress. He's not comparing your journey to anyone else's. No, he's walking with you, step by step, through the valley, through the grief, through the confusion, through the trauma, through the loss, and into the light of hope again. And don't miss this. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending the pain didn't happen. It means God redeems it. He takes the very wound that threatened to destroy you and turns it into a place of glory, because that's what he does. He brings beauty out of ashes. He takes mourning and gives you a garment of praise. He takes the spirit of despair and breathes joy back into your bones. If you're listening right now and you feel like you're too broken, too lost, too wounded, too ashamed, hear me clearly. God still heals, and he still binds wounds. You don't need the perfect words. You don't need to earn his love. You just need to come as you are and let him do what only he can do. There is no wound too deep. No trauma too old. No heartbreak too heavy. No silence too long. He heals the brokenhearted, and he binds up their wounds. Let that truth wrap around you like a warm blanket in the middle of your storm. Let it echo in the chambers of your soul. You are not alone. You are not forsaken. You are not forgotten. You are not beyond healing. You are seen. You are loved. And you are being healed. Right now. Be why the God who never left. Be why the God who still chooses you. Be why the God who still whispers over your broken places. You are mine, and I will make you whole. Pain. It's a word that carries weight, not just the weight of moments, but the weight of memories. Some of us are not just dealing with current wounds, we are carrying the echoes of pain from years ago. And in the quiet corners of our soul, we whisper, why, God? Not as rebellion, but as children, reaching for answers in a storm. Why did the door close? Why did they leave? Why did the sickness come? Why did the betrayal cut so deep? Why did he allow my heart to shatter? But hear this, lean in. The presence of pain does not mean the absence of God. And the silence of heaven does not mean indifference. Sometimes, pain is not punishment, it's preparation. Sometimes the tears that fall today are watering the soil for what God is about to grow tomorrow. He allows pain, not because he enjoys your suffering, but because he sees what you can't see yet, because he knows the end from the beginning, and he is more concerned with your eternity than your temporary comfort. That doesn't mean your pain is meaningless. It means it's being used to shape you. To refine you. To draw you closer. To strip away the false strength you thought you needed and replace it with a strength that never fails. Romans 5:3-5 says it like this. We also glory in tribulations, knowing that tribulation produces perseverance, and perseverance, character, and character, hope. Did you hear that? Hope doesn't come in spite of pain. It is birthed through it. Hope is not the absence of suffering. It is the presence of God in the middle of suffering. Some of your deepest worship will rise from your deepest wounds. Some of your most powerful prayers will come through your tears. Some of your strongest testimonies will begin with a broken heart and an unanswered why. Because pain has a way of clearing the noise. Pain has a way of tearing down pride. Pain has a way of reminding us that we were never meant to walk without him. Remember Job, a righteous man, faithful, devoted, sincere, and yet he lost everything: his children, his wealth, his health, his name. And when all of it was stripped away, he said something earth-shaking: "Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him." Job 13:15. That kind of faith doesn't come easy. It is carved out in the valley. It is born in the furnace. It is forged in the midnight hours when your prayers seem unanswered, but you whisper his name anyway. You don't have to understand it all. God is not waiting for you to figure him out, but he is inviting you to trust him, even when it hurts. Psalm 119:71 says, "It was good for me to be afflicted so that I might learn your decrees." Let that verse sit with you. It was good for me, not because the pain felt good, but because what it produced was greater than what it cost. There are things you learn in the fire that you cannot learn in the sunshine. There is intimacy with God that only suffering reveals. There is a nearness, a closeness, that comes when you cry out and feel his hand hold you in the dark. And friend, I know the pain feels heavy. I know it seems unfair. But what if I told you that even this storm, even this silence, even this ache in your chest, is not outside of his plan? God doesn't waste anything. Not one tear, not one breakdown, not one season of loneliness. He's using it. Maybe to bring you back to him. Maybe to wake up something inside you. Maybe to unearth purpose you never knew was buried beneath your sorrow. There's a story in every scar. There's a ministry in every mess. There's resurrection waiting behind every crucifixion. You are not being destroyed. You are being transformed. Isaiah 48:10 says, "I have refined you, though not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction." The fire isn't to burn you. It's to purify you. To strip away the lies you believe. To melt away the chains you carry. To strengthen what was once weak. To make you look more like Jesus, who himself was a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. Isaiah 53:3. Yes, Jesus understands. He wept at Lazarus' tomb. He bled in Gethsemane. He cried out on the cross. He was not unfamiliar with suffering. He entered into it so you would never walk through it alone. That's why your pain is never wasted, because it has a savior attached to it. He sees your confusion. He hears the silent screams in your soul. He knows the nights where sleep runs from you, and all you have left is breath and hope and a name: Jesus. And he's there, not just as a spectator, but as a comforter. As a redeemer. As a shepherd who walks with you through the valley, not around it. So maybe the question isn't why, God. Maybe the better question is, what are you doing in me through this? And if you're still in the waiting, still in the questions, still in the ache, that's okay. God isn't rushing your healing. He's working through it. He's writing something deeper, eternal, sacred, something that will one day have you say, "It was in that season of pain that I found his heart." Let that become your prayer. God, I don't understand this pain, but I trust your purpose. I don't see the whole story, but I trust the author, because though the pain may linger and the answers may not come quickly, the promise remains sure. He is close to the brokenhearted, and he heals. And the same hands that formed the stars are the hands reaching for your heart right now. Even in the pain, especially in the pain, he is near, healing. It doesn't always come wrapped in what we asked for. It doesn't always look the way we imagined. Sometimes we think healing means the pain disappears overnight, that the memories fade like smoke in the morning wind, that the ones who left come back, that the wounds close quickly, neatly, easily. But friend, healing is not always immediate. Healing is not always loud. Healing is not always how you prayed for it, but it is always sacred, because healing is a process. And sometimes, it begins with learning to breathe again. Just breathe. When all you've known is panic and pressure, just breathing is a miracle. Healing may look like waking up and choosing to hope again, even when your heart still hurts. It may look like laughing, really laughing for the first time in months, and realizing you forgot what joy felt like. It may look like standing up from the floor where you've wept night after night, wiping your tears and whispering, "I will not die here." Healing is not always the erasing of the scar. Sometimes it's learning to see the scar as proof that what tried to break you didn't. Proof that what tried to bury you failed. Yes, the wound was deep. Yes, it changed you. But God has a way of turning broken things into holy things. Jesus, after his resurrection, still bore the scars in his hands and his side. Why? Because the scars told a story, not just of pain, but of purpose, not just of death, but of resurrection. And maybe God won't remove every scar from your life, because your scars tell of survival. Your scars preach a gospel that someone else needs to hear. Your scars are the fingerprints of a faithful God who walked you through the fire and never let you go. Healing may come through people you never expected. Through a quiet conversation, a simple prayer, through a song that reaches the part of your soul you forgot how to touch. It may come through counseling. Yes, there is no shame in asking for help. Healing is not a betrayal of your faith. Healing is not weakness. Healing is obedience. Even the man by the pool of Bethesda had to pick up his mat and walk. Even the blind man had to go wash in the pool of Siloam. Healing often requires your participation, your willingness to show up again. To choose faith again. To try again, even when your heart is still trembling. Psalm 30:2 says, "O Lord my God, I cried to you for help, and you healed me." Sometimes the healing is in the crying out. Sometimes it's in the honesty. In saying, "God, I don't know how to keep going," and hearing him whisper, "I'm the strength in your weakness. I'm the hand holding yours. Keep walking." Healing might come in pieces, day by day, layer by layer. It may not make headlines. It may not feel dramatic, but it is holy work, the kind of work only God can do. Philippians 1:6 reminds us, "He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus." He started it, and he will finish it. Even if the healing isn't finished yet, don't stop believing that it will be. Your story isn't over. Your heart isn't finished growing. Your faith is still unfolding. And maybe, just maybe, healing looks like forgiving them, forgiving yourself, letting go of the weight that's been choking your spirit. Forgiveness doesn't mean it was okay. It means you're done letting it control your peace. Healing may look like surrender. Surrendering the timeline. Surrendering the outcome. Surrendering the old version of you, so God can raise up someone new. Because the same God who brings dead things to life is the same God working in you. And sometimes, healing is simply remembering that you are still here, that you are still standing, that your breath is proof of purpose, that your survival is not accidental, it's divine. Psalm 147:3 says, "He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds." Not just the visible wounds, not just the ones others see, but the private ones, the invisible ones, the quiet ones you don't even talk about. He is binding. He is healing. He is working. Even now. Let the process unfold. Let him rewrite what you thought was the final chapter. Let him turn the page. And as you heal, as the sun begins to rise again, don't forget this. You are not being put back the way you were. You are being made into something stronger, something softer, something more holy. You are not being patched. You are being restored. And when it's all said and done, let him in. That's the invitation. Not to fix yourself first, not to figure it all out, not to silence the tears or hide the scars, but simply let him in. Because healing isn't about performance, that it's not about pretending to be okay, that it's not about wearing the mask that says, "I'm fine," when your soul is whispering, "I'm not." God doesn't need your perfection. He's not waiting for you to clean up the mess. He's not pacing in heaven wondering why you're still broken. No. He's standing at the door of your heart, with nail-scarred hands, with eyes full of mercy, with a voice that is both thunder and whisper, and he's saying, "Let me in. Let me into the pain you've locked away. Let me into the memories that still ache. Let me into the nights when you lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how you'll survive another day. Let me into the disappointment you don't talk about, the fear you try to bury, the loneliness that screams in the silence. Let me into the bitterness. Yes, even that. Even the part of you that's angry with me. I can handle it. I am not threatened by your questions. I am not offended by your honesty. I see you." Psalm 147:3 says, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. But to bind a wound, you must first uncover it. You must take off the bandages you've wrapped so tightly around it. You must be willing to say, God, this hurts. God, I can't do this without you. God, I need you. And He comes running. The Father of compassion, the God of all comfort, the one who never left, even when you couldn't feel Him. Let Him into the room where your childhood pain still echoes. Let Him into the space where trauma once built walls. Let Him into the corner of your heart you swore you'd never let anyone touch again. He's gentle. He's kind. He doesn't barge in. He waits for the invitation. But oh, when you open the door, He walks in with healing in His wings, with peace that passes, understanding, with a love that doesn't flinch when it sees your mess. This is not a God who turns away. This is not a God who grows tired of your tears. This is not a God who says, you should be over this by now. No, He is the God who says, I was there. I saw what happened. I felt your pain. I wept when you wept. And I never stopped loving you. Let Him in. Let Him into your today, into your past, into your future. Let Him rewrite the story the enemy tried to destroy. Let Him speak truth where lies once lived. Let Him whisper, you are still mine, over the ruins of your broken places. In Revelation 3 verse 20, Jesus says, Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with him, and he with me. This is not religion. This is relationship. This is invitation. This is healing. That He's not asking for your resume, that He's not inspecting your credentials. He's asking for your heart. And yes, He already knows what's inside. The pain, the shame, the guilt, the fear. But He still wants you. That He wants to take your broken pieces and make something beautiful. He wants to take your tears and water the ground for something new to grow. He wants to take your story and write redemption across every chapter. But you must let Him in. It's okay to start small. It's okay if all you can say is, Jesus, help me. It's okay if you don't have eloquent words. He hears the groanings too deep for words. He hears the cry of your spirit. He is not far. He is not distant. He is close to the brokenhearted. Right now, wherever you are, He is near. In the hospital room. In the lonely apartment. In the car where you're crying. In the prison cell. In the church PEW. In the middle of your anxiety. In the aftermath of your loss. He's there. And He's saying, let me in. Let me carry what's crushing you. Let me restore what's been lost. Let me love you back to life. This isn't the end of your story. This is the moment the healing begins. This is the moment you open the door, and the light floods in, and love walks in, and peace sits down, and hope rises. Because when God enters the room, everything changes. Right now, right here, whisper it if you must, cry it if you need to, say it with all that you have. Jesus, I let you in. I welcome you into my pain. I invite you into my heart. I surrender. And then let Him do what only He can do. Heal, bind, restore, renew. This is holy ground. This is the beginning of something new. Let Him in.